There's something that I hated as a kid. It was being called shy. I hate that word. And today, I know that I'm probably never was actually shy. I'm just introverted, but in a world full of extroverts, in which extroverts play the card, at least in a superficial level, you're ought to be called shy if you're more on the introverted side. I remember this happening since I was a little kid, and I hated it so much. So, like, of course, I had my bouts with social anxiety. I had my bouts with learning how to deal with people. I did. And, but the thing is, it wasn't that I was shy per se, it was more a matter of really being introverted. So, your social battery is smaller, and it takes more effort for you to deal with people, especially people. It depends, really. It really depends on you and how you are at the moment, the point in your life you are. But it depends. There are people that you simply can't stand, or there are people that it's a specific group of people. So maybe if it's a teenage boy, he's shy around girls, or he has a bit more of difficulty with girls, or sometimes it's with people in positions of power and positions of leadership. But really, for me, it was never about actually being shy. It was really much more about this, about having that smaller capacity for dealing with people's BS, really. And, one of the great things that helped me with overcoming this shyness, quote unquote, was music. Really, music was the great thing, the greatest thing ever, probably, in my life. Because when you play, especially when you sing, there's no way that you can be shy about it. I mean, of course, there are many ways in which you can have stage fright, you can feel anxious. There are many things that can happen, but you'll need to overcome it, or at least partially. And by doing it partially, of course, it's not perfect, but by overcoming this shyness partially, you're already taking a huge step into becoming a less shy person. I hate the word so much. So some of the things that I did concerning music, for instance, when you get in a band, you need to play. You can't get there and then you're like, oh, I can't play. I'm shy about playing. Like, why are you in a band then? Or if you have a show, you need to display how well you play. And I never really had a problem with playing. But singing sometimes, yeah, singing it's harder because when you're playing, of course, you might be a little intimidated, or you might have a little bit of stage fright. But you're playing through your fingers or through your body if you're a drummer. But when you're singing, then it's hard, man, because you're actually speaking, so people can hear the fear in your voice, or they can hear how you're not that comfortable, or sometimes your voice simply gets squealed out, so you don't sing as well as you should be because your throat is tense, so your voice gets a little bit squeezed and you don't sing really well when you ugh, I almost threw up. So you have to deal with this. And at the beginning, when I started playing as a singer, I didn't even have a microphone, so everyone was playing, and I had to scream out loud, which in a way ended up being a good thing, I guess, because I had to really put it out there. And then another thing that I did that has to do with music was going to karaoke. So karaoke bars or open mics, that kind of thing. And probably as well, if you can go to stand-up comedy, like improv session, that must be awesome. I never did it, but I definitely would. probably should now that I think about it. And going to a karaoke and being alone on stage with everyone, all of those drunken people looking at you, that's a pretty interesting situation. And I remember when I moved to Stuttgart on the second day there, second night, I was with my two best friends and we went to a pub because every Wednesday at that Irish pub, they had karaoke. And man, like one of my friends, he sings pretty well. He has done a bunch of singing classes. He has a band now. But the other one, he sings terribly, terribly, really. Like I hope he doesn't watch this, but he does. And anyways, and I'm decent. I wouldn't say I'm terrible, but I'm also like no professional. But both of them had sung, and I wasn't going to sing. And I really thought that I wasn't going to sing, and I don't remember if it was because they insisted that I should, or because it didn't seem like uh, pussy. But at the end of the night, I did sing, and I sang "I Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor" by the Arctic Monkeys. That was a song that has a lot of energy, a lot of punch, and that I knew by heart. And when I got out of the stage, it felt fucking awesome. It felt really awesome getting out of the stage and having conquered myself. And then I started going pretty much every Wednesday, at least every Wednesday I could. I would go to that pub because I really loved to put myself out there and sing a song or two every week. And most people, they that's the thing. Most people don't have the courage, don't have the guts to get on stage. So just by doing that, just by getting on stage, you're doing the things that most people wouldn't do. Kind of like what Grant Cardone says on his book 10x, like the 10x law, something like that. Like that, you should do 10x more things, or put in 10x more effort, or have 10x better ideas. You get the drill. So to do that, you have to do things that other people wouldn't do, and that's one of the great reasons why I started liking going to the karaoke, because I could do things that other people were too afraid to do. Like most people that went there, they didn't sing, or they kind of cheered on their friends while their friends were singing, but they didn't go on stage and actually sing. And by doing that, it also helped with my confidence and with getting myself out there in other situations, be it at work, be it in other places. And I'm not sure if I talked about this already, at least not in video, but I was living in Germany, and when I got there, I knew like very, very basic things like hello, thank you, that kind of thing. And I actually learned or picked up pretty decent German pretty quick because, of course, I studied the language and I listened to podcasts or audios or German songs or whatever it was when I was going to work. And I did a bunch of those things, of course. But I think one of the main drivers that I learned it so quick, and I'm not saying I learned perfect German in that time, I only spent 1 year there, but everyone that worked with me complimented me on my German. Like knowing that I got there at this level and I got out of there at this level. So maybe at a 3 year old toddler level, but most people that went there as foreigners, they didn't bother to even try. So just by doing that, but that was not the point. The point was that I allowed myself to make mistakes. I knew, especially in the beginning, that what I was saying was probably wrong or half wrong. And I didn't care. I actually embraced that people would correct me because they were helping me. They were teaching me actually. So my colleagues were actually my tutors, my language tutors that were doing that for free, and because they thought that it was kind of cute that I was actually trying. So this is the point actually. The point of taking those small risks, not caring if you're gonna look stupid or if you're gonna look dumb, because the only way to actually learn something is by trying and making mistakes. And yeah, putting yourself out there. If your comfort zone is here, you need to take a step or two out of the comfort zone. If it's something that you're kind of afraid or you feel butterflies in your stomach, that's the kind of thing you should do. So if if going up on stage is something that you might think, oh, that's not for me. No, that is for you. You should do it. Or if maybe it's calling a client, or maybe it's talking to your boss, whatever it is. But if it's something that makes you feel a little anxious, that's a little fearful, that's when you know that you should be doing that thing. Because it's something that deep inside you know that is important. And if you let that fear not let you do the thing that you need to do, you're letting the fear win. And back to Grant Cardone's book, 10X, because I was reading this just yesterday or today. Fear is about you having an expectation about something that's not actually real. And by allowing the fear, by giving it time, the fear only grows. So it begins as a small thing. And with time, if you don't do what you should be doing, which is the thing you're fearful of, it only grows, grows, grows. So if you're anxious about doing something, waiting and waiting and waiting won't make you less anxious. For instance, the client example, if you need to talk to that client and you know it, like you just got an email or your boss told you that you need to talk to him, pick the phone and call now. Because if you say no, I'll take a break and I'll go to the bathroom and then I'll get a coffee and then I'll drink the coffee and then I'll think of the strategy to talk to that client, you just be wasting time. And in that time, your fear won't go away. You won't feel more prepared. You will just get a larger and larger fear. So just do it as soon as possible. And thank you for watching this. I hope that you guys learned something today. And I hope that you guys are more willing now to go against your fears, to step out of your comfort zone. I write about this on my newsletter as well. And also, you can watch my podcast. You can subscribe to this channel right here and maybe DM me on X, that kind of thing. Thank you very much for watching. Keep rocking, keep rolling, and let's conquer those fears together because you are a rock star.